and my watch says it's 3 o'clock, and my computer says it's 3 o'clock too. So I'm going to start saying things that are substantive. Start saying things that are meaningful and that are of import. My name is Glum Hippo, and I like puzzles of all kinds and always have. When I was younger, I was introduced to a logic puzzle series in a German magazine called Die Zeit, which is Zeit is like time, okay, but you can't think of Zeit Magazin as the equivalent of Time magazine. They were both, well, one of them sucks, and the other one is quite good. But in Zeit there was a series of logic puzzles called Logelei von Zweistein, and Zweistein was a play on words because Zweistein means two stones, but Einstein means one stone, and Einstein, as you know, is a very smart guy, and Zweistein was a joke on a play on that word, on the word Einstein. So I've always enjoyed puzzles. I've enjoyed Sudoku and word and number placement puzzles for as long as I've known them, which isn't that long, maybe 15 years. Wait, am I thinking 2005? Yeah, actually almost 20 years. But anyway, today we're not going to do any sort of number placement puzzles. We're not going to do what you usually run into at what you will run into at SudokuCon. We're not doing the kinds of things we do on the CTC Discord server. But I'm going to just talk about some types of word puzzles other than crossword, hence the title. And sort of the main focus is a word game that I developed also about 20 years ago, a little less than that, around the time my son was born. And but I want to begin by warming up with something. I hope this goes well. I want to try some other puzzle types. The first one I want to do, which one is the first one I want to do? I want to see if I can do a cryptogram. And this is my cryptogram page. For those of you interested, there's a free cryptogram server at api.razzlepuzzles.com. I think I'll type that into the chat. api.razzlepuzzles.com cryptogram. Okay. Now, you're not going to see the same cryptogram that I see, but I'm just randomly crediting this website. And this is the first one that came up, and I haven't really thought about it much, but I did look at it, and it looks like it's going to be kind of tricky. But I'm only doing this to sort of get my juices flowing, and to embarrass myself earlier rather than later, because I don't really know how to start this one. I see a hyphenated word, Tebuxjal deg. It might be nice for me to explain a little bit what you do with cryptograms, if for those of you who have never encountered them before. This is just a letter substitution cipher. Okay, so every letter below these thin dotted lines is a code, and I have to decode it because every letter in that stands for the letter of the actual quote. Sometimes you see these where the author's name, here it's Chinua Achebe, the author's name will be actually part of the cryptogram. And here we just get the author's name ahead of time, and we have to turn this sentence of gobbledygook into a sentence of common English. I'm just going to try to solve it. Let's see. I found, yeah, NZ is not a, yeah, thank you. NZ is not actually a word. So the way that I would start this is by looking at the word NZ and the word NBZ and seeing that the word NBZ comes up twice. So it must be a fairly common word. But if I put here the most common three-letter word, then I get the te. And I don't know if Chinua Achebe has read the book The Te of Piglet, but he's probably not actually talking about the Te of Piglet. So, hi, dreaming librarian, I can see you. So it's not the. I also noticed that it's not going to be and, because even though the word ad does exist, he's probably not talking about an ad, especially not an ad that has an adjective in front of it with a hyphen in it. So it's not ad or and or the. It's also not for the same reasons, because for isn't a word. What I was thinking is that it could be its, like its, and then we have a very common two-letter word that uses n and z. So n would be I, z would be s. And I've been doing these for a long time. When I was little, I would do them on paper, and I'd have to find all the places where a z came up and put an s over it. Find all the b's and put a t. I'm not even sure this is right. I hope it is, because I don't want to spend too much time on this puzzle. So I have an is and an its, and there's nothing telling me that that's obviously wrong yet. There are some things that I consider suspicious, namely that there are so few s's and so few t's. I'm looking at this word that ends in double s. And by the way, when we get late, I don't mind you helping me with this particular puzzle, but later on when we get to the other puzzles, I would like people to not jump in the chat and give the answer. Yeah, thick. Yeah, I'm a little behind you, obviously, but I've already put a double S here, and I'm actually looking for a way to disprove it, which of course is bifurcation. But let's be honest, I am not an expert on this and not pretending to be one. So that, no, it can't be that. We already got T's and S's and I's. There's going to be a vowel in here, probably J or X. And look, I've got this JX pair coming up pretty often. JX. That's funny. It's funny, Philip. He says, I'd be disappointed if you don't find the swordfish here. Yeah, there's a swordfish on the letter P or something. Okay. Come on, I don't want to spend too much time on this. So this three-letter word here, I mean, this could be something like man, right? Or day. Whoops. My computer's a little bit laggy right now. Hey, be nice. I have to delete it? Okay, I have to delete it before I can write. Oh, it won't let me write a D here because D can't be D. Anyway, that's cool. I don't want to spend much more time on this. Does anybody have any ideas? Hi, J40. Shoot, I didn't want to embarrass myself with this puzzle. But there's a lot of X's. I'm going to put an E for X and see what happens. Because X's do come up a lot. And this is just 4 letters here. I doubt that this is anything but a vowel, at least. 2 words ending in UV, yes. It's, yeah, You know, there's also this, like I said, JX is a pretty common pair here. What if X is H? I mean, J is H and G is W. Because then I have this TH coming up a few times. But I don't know, do I know a word that goes O, wit? I don't think that's right. It's probably not right. When gives, okay, let's just put when and see what happens. I don't want to spend too much time on this. Obviously, chewing? Chewing? Why is he talking about chewing? Oh, maybe this is a cow that's chewing. All right. Thank you, J40. When mother cow is chewing? This is the weirdest one I've seen in a long time. When mother cow is chewing grass, it's doing what? Okay, this is definitely mouth. Its young ones watch its mouth. Oh, that is really profound. When mother cow is chewing grass, its young ones watch its mouth. It took me 20 minutes. It did not take me 20 minutes to do that. I've just had this screen open for 20 minutes. And apparently the best time on this puzzle was 1 minute and 42 seconds. That person was cheating because they have read the complete works of Chinua Achebe, which I recommend, except that I haven't done so. So I can only recommend it in order to sound smart. Okay, so I'm not going to do another one, but if you do visit this website, there's sort of a menu on the left that says new game, and it'll give you a new one. Some of them are quite long. Stephen Fry. Is there anybody who wants to do one more? I wonder, we've already been 11 minutes in. Should we do another cryptogram? Maybe we can do one. It has this word yao twice. EHJ, ECHJAU. I do feel like kind of doing this. Does anybody object if we do one more? Because we do have a lot of time. And not everybody who wants to be here has arrived yet, I bet. Plus, it's going to train me to not feel like I'm in a huge rush, because I feel like I am in a huge rush. All right. Yao. We can't ignore yao twice, says Wessel Strijkstra, who I'm very glad to see here. I hope I pronounced your name right. I've been pronouncing it like that in my head for a long time. Now, EHJ comes up at the beginning and at the end. And so, I mean, it can be apostrophe S, or it can be apostrophe T. If it's apostrophe T, it's don't and dawn, or won't and won. If it's, well, I'm just going to type it in so we can all visualize it. That's why I do things like that, and that's not right. I don't think that. Oh, wrongs? No, that's not right. Can't be wrongs. One wrongs. Nah, this is we're going down the wrong path here. High PPO. Yes. Okay. I'm not going to get distracted. I see all of this HJW, the EHJ, and the HJW. 2 3-letter words. The default kind of is to say, if you see a 3-letter word, first assume that it's a very common 3-letter word. But I'm thinking, I'm just dialing through my common 3-letter words. So what I can basically rule out, I think, is that it's that either one is the, because if this is THE, the other one is going to start with blank TH, and if this is THE, whoops. Oh, it won't let me say THE. Yeah, okay, blah blah. All right, not going to get very far with that. But if it's and, can and maybe. Let me just put that in. Oh, yeah, I think that's very promising, because if this is can, then the last word would be can't. And this is probably change, can change and change again. Can change, unchange again. I cannot do a Stephen Fry impression, though, and I'm not going to try. Levitate? No. Deviate. Change and change again. R. Let's see, happier. This has got to be happier. Whoops. I just write a double P because I'm stupid. And this became sp, which it can't be. Okay, people. That's definitely people. People who can change and change are so much more reliable and happier than those who can't. Wow, that's a very good one. Stephen Fry, if you don't know him, is probably one of my favorite people. And I'm exaggerating a little bit because I actually know some people personally. I do not know Stephen Fry personally, but he's so good. He writes, people who can change and change again are so much more reliable and happier than those who can't. Okay, I would like to do something else now, but first I want to say that is a terrific quote, and it is so true. People who never change are not reliable. Okay, his quote is better than mine. All right. So another thing I'd like to try, and if this doesn't work well, or if I get thrown a bunch of advertisements, I'm not going to do it. But I did want to. I wanted to do a jumble. I don't know if you guys have heard of jumbles, but I'll introduce it in a second. I just solved a jumble here that, and I'll explain what they are. I solved today's jumble earlier this morning, and then I solved the one from April 18th just now, and I'm going to dwell on that, but I'm going to try a different one. We're going to start on, this one is number 24. I'm going to try to center this in the page. Just a moment. Move this over here. Okay. Now the way that jumbles work, first of all, these are very old-fashioned puzzles. These have been around for as long as I can remember. And the way it works is you get a bunch of words that are scrambled. And the scrambled words, first you have to unscramble the scrambled words. And then you have to take the circled letters in the scrambled, in the thus unscrambled words, and they will all appear down here on this table. You can't see my cursor, but they will appear on the table at the bottom of the screen. And then you have to re-unscramble the resulting letters to fill in the blanks here. So let's look at the cartoon. Everyone look at the cartoon. It says, I'm Dr. Scrivello. Oh no, you're not Dr. Ryder, says the dentist, says the patient. You're not Dr. Ryder. Where is he? And the response is, I'm Dr. Scrivello. He asked me to take care of your teeth today. Dr. Scrivello. I don't know who came up with that name. I wonder if it becomes part of the joke, part of the pun. Like, are we going to have a pun on Scrivello? Or are we making fun of Italian people? I don't think that's very nice. Maybe we're making fun of people named Ryder who were just no-shows on things like this. So the lady, her regular dentist was out, but there was another dentist filling his shoes. Okay, well anyway, so let's just solve the puzzle. First of all, the letters Zigael become the word, come on, glaze. Ooh. Oh, I get sound. Are you getting sound from the car? No, you're not getting sound from my computer. It doesn't matter. The words, this is, of course, the word fnuni, which is a variant of the word bunny. Oh, wait, it's funny. It's not fnuni, it's funny. There we go. And then Gurdif is always frigid. Okay. And then Licati is also an Italian name, actually. No, I knew a guy named Licata. Tony Licata, are you here? He was a horn player and probably still plays the horn. And the fact that I remembered his name is probably pretty frightening to him. He was a student of mine at the University of Illinois back at 2009 or 10. Okay. What was that sound? Oh, a minute has passed. Okay, you can't hear my audio. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. Licati, what is that? That is silicate. No. Tickle, tackle, garlic, italic. Italic. All right, and of course, I already gave away the joke on accident, but at the bottom now, you'll see I get to put in the letters. Her regular dentist was out, but there was another dentist filling in. Okay. Oh, yes, of course. Licati is two licatas. I don't know why they wanted me to unscramble that. Licati. People who play the horn. Okay. So, we shall continue. I have dropped 0 frames. If anyone's wondering, I've dropped 0 frames since I started this. I'm obsessed with not dropping frames. But probably when I switch applications, it's going to drop frames. That's fine. Let's take away the crypto quote, and I'm going to open my terminal window. Can everybody read my terminal window? You'll just see the word standalones, and then in square brackets the word master. Okay. All right. And then I want to start my little, you can see it, but you don't know how to read. Okay, I can't help you. I'm sorry. All right, it does say standalones and then the word master. And you're going to need, I think in order to play this game, you are going to need to be able to read. Okay. But we'll help you along, and you can also, certainly you can just pretend to be able to read. And also you can just not read and not participate, and I probably won't notice because there are currently 22 people watching. So what I want to introduce is a game called Dryphtwords. Dryphtwords. And the way I want to introduce it, and you'll see it spelled up on the screen in a little bit, but the way I want to introduce it is to imagine you're doing a crossword puzzle. And you have a bunch of checking letters in this 8-letter word. Namely, you have the A, L, T, and I in the middle. This is a, so it's a crossword puzzle, and you're too lazy to look at the clue, okay? Because the clue is way out the bottom left corner of the screen, and you don't want to lose your place in the crossword. This happens to everybody. And we're not doing a crossword because this is a stream with no crosswords. So you're looking at this word, this 8-letter word with the letters A, L, T, and I in the middle, and you kind of look up and to the left with your eyes because that's what people do when they're thinking of words, and you might be inclined to guess that the word you're looking at is exalting. Exalting. That seems very reasonable. But then you realize that because you have a huge vocabulary, you realize that it could also be realties, maybe, which is the plural of realty, or fealties, which is the plural of fealty. And both of those words are fairly uncommon because we don't usually think of the plural of realties or of fealty. Fealty is loyalty. A synonym for loyalty, and realty is actually something British people don't know. A realtor is an American word for an estate agent. Yeah, don't fall asleep punching Cato, even if you're punching Cato 1. Yeah, you got to hang out with us. Anyway, so you don't know what the word is. You don't have enough checking letters to disambiguate, and then you look at the clue, and the clue is picky person's daily downer. I'm just making this up. This is not from an actual crossword, and you come to realize that the answer must be mealtime. And mealtime is a picky person's worst nightmare because they sit down to eat and they just know that what they're going to be served is something they don't like. Okay, so the game of Dryphtwords takes this thought process and flips it around. Instead of showing you the letters that you're going to get, and you have to figure out what the word is, it gives you all the words that have those letters in the middle, and you have to figure out the middle words. So this puzzle has the word exalting, the word fealties, the word mealtime, and the word realties. And you have to find those just by looking at the framing letters. Okay, so I'll just put that back in so you can see it. Come on. This is a little bit laggy. Don't be bad. Okay, go away. Go back. Oh no, this is right. Okay, so here it is. Whoops. Okay, my slideshow is going to lag a little bit, and that's not your problem. It's my problem. Am I dropping frames? I still have dropped 0 frames, or at least OBS thinks I have not dropped any. So that's the. Does anybody have any questions about the rules? You're basically going to have a list. We'll do a few, and you'll get used to it. So my first example for you to try is this one. Okay. So again, this is 3 7-letter words. They start with the same 3 letters, and they all end with the same last letter. Please do not put an answer in the chat. Okay. If you do put an answer in the chat after I just warned you, that's fine. I mean, we'll do this very first one. This is kind of a warm-up anyway. And so I'm going to give everybody some time to think about it. But I want to talk you through the solution. Some of you might have seen it right away. Some of you still don't see it. And some of you will not see it even after I've shown you the answer. But don't worry, it really is something that we're doing to warm up a little bit. If I look at this word, or these words, and I have no idea how to start, I'm going to try to look at one of the words and think of it as the one that's the limiting factor, the one that's least likely to be right. So by way of counterexample, because I really like to start with counterexamples, let's take a look at words that start, words that have that LIN in it. Okay, so here's the counterexample. I'm going to go and I'm going to catalog my entire system dictionary. And I'm going to look for the letters blank, 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 LIN blank, and make sure I end with a new line. And you're going to get a bunch of words. Okay. There are a lot of words that have LIN and then another letter at the end. By the way, my system dictionary has way more words than I will ever need in my life. So there are going to be some words in here that you'll never use. For example, upfling. That's a funny word. I'm going to upfling something. Anyway, so the point I'm trying to make is that's the word that I don't want to start analyzing. That's not the place I want to start. Like, there are 191 words that have LIN in the 5th, 6th, and 7th position, or sorry, 4th, 5th, and 6th position. Yeah, this is just my terminal. Don't worry about it. I'm just trying to demonstrate some things. For example, we were looking at this puzzle over here. Thank you. We were looking at this puzzle, and I was trying to demonstrate that the second line word in this puzzle is not the place to start, because there are 191 words in my system dictionary that have that in there. And then if we look at TTL as our starting one, it's also not a great candidate, because if I just put TTL here, you don't need your system dictionary to solve the puzzle. I'm just trying to demonstrate that these less common words, there are 18 words with TTL in them. And but the place I want to start, and the place where many of you might have started with that puzzle, is to look at the first word. Of this one we have, the system dictionary has 19. Well, but just let's not get obsessed with system dictionaries. I'm going to go back to the screen itself. And if I just analyze these, if I see the word TTL, I know that there are quite a few words that have that in there, like brittle, or can't think of any others. But IRI is a really unusual set of IRI is a really unusual set of letters. And the first word that came to mind when I looked at it was aspirin. So when I take the word aspirin and I replace and I put the first three letters of aspirin in front of LIN and the last letter N after LIN, I get ASPLINN, which is definitely not a word. So that's not going to work. So what's another word? I'll go ahead and give it to the chat. What is another word that has IRI in those positions? Anybody want to hazard a guess? You can go ahead and yeah, okay. Stephen has got it. Okay, don't worry if you didn't get it, but we're going to go ahead and solve this one because prairie is correct. Prairie is correct. Yeah, there we go. And you should be able to see it. And prairie fills the first word, and it actually happens to also fill the second and third word with prairie, praline, and prattle. If you don't know the word prattle, that's okay. This puzzle type, one thing I will say about it generally is it gets better the more common the words are. Of these words, I would argue that prattle is the least common one. Although if you were in Shakespearean England, prairie would probably be less common. Prairie, praline, and prattle. Prattle means to talk senselessly or talk endlessly and bore people to death, or to talk nonsense, empty words. And that's exactly what I'm doing a lot of the time. So I'm going to move on to the next example. Does anybody have questions about the rules? This is example 2 now, the second real example. We're looking for two different words, and what appeals to me about this particular puzzle is the fact that there's a Y in the middle of the first word, and there's a Y in the other word as well, and they are kind of swapping positions. They're not both in the same position. And obviously, if they were in the same position, then there would be a blank there. But I like when letters kind of replicate themselves between two different lines. Yeah, Wessel, that's a good point. So the first word clearly does not start with funny, because then it would be FNUNY, and then the second word would be impossible because it would start with HNUNS, and I don't even know how to pronounce that. I mean, funny word, and then weird is not going to happen. Okay, so when I look at the bottom word, I keep thinking hearsay, like hearsayer, but that letter before the Y and before the A can't also be an A. What? Funny isn't spelled fnoonie? Are you serious? Of course funny is spelled fnoonie. F-U-N-N-Y. Fnoonie. No? Okay. Sorry. So Love Pencils and Rook 28. You've been subjected to an inside joke from It's Stark Jr. And I went along with it and ended up confusing you even more. The word's funny is spelled F-U-N-N-Y, but on the CTC Discord server, you're almost not allowed to do that because you have to spell it wrong. You have to spell it with the U's and N's in the wrong order. Okay, I'm sorry about that. We're not gonna have any more inside jokes. That's stupid. Anyway, so let's go back to this puzzle. It's quite a long word. It has a Y in the middle of it, So I think that might pull you in the direction of a compound word. If you do figure out what it is, you can put a little plus sign in chat or something. I think that's maybe a nice way to say that you got it, or you can write got it, but please don't give the answer. So you might be drawn toward compound words, is what I'm trying to say. And I think you quickly realize that they're not, the two compound words are not going to break up in the same place. Yeah? The first word probably is a compound word, probably has a 5-letter first half and a 4-letter second half, which is a very loose use of the word half, but there you go. And the letter after the S is not going to be an A, because I probably don't have 2 A's in a row. So S blank Y can be shy, maybe, but I am telling you that these are common words, and I can't really think of a word that starts with H and has the word shy in the middle, and I can't even think of a word of letters to come after shy, 2 letters to come after shy. That would make something that isn't impossibly exotic. So what else could it be? It can't be S-A-Y, it can't be S-H-Y. It might be 2 S's in a row. Horsey. Yeah, it's funny. Thank you. That's part of the fun of these types of puzzles, is not getting it right away and being able to sit on it. But let me go ahead and hint those people who don't have it yet. Between the S and the Y, it needs more Y. Yeah. Shyly. That's true. That is a good point. Okay, but I'm going to go ahead and say the letter between the S and the Y is a T. Yeah? Sty. And how I can continue the letter STY, letters STY to make a 5-letter word, maybe in the second half of a compound word. Okay? Glipperall got it. Well, that means everybody must have gotten it. Ah, oh, snap. I'm kidding. But I do want to move on. There was not a dig at Glipperall, because it's really just too cheap, and it's not nice. Okay, so I am going to go ahead. The word between the letter between S and Y is a T, and the answer is hairstyle and fairy tale. Okay, now you might object that hairstyle is 2 words, but you wouldn't be wrong, but it can be 1 word. And you might object that fairy tale is 2 words. And when you're talking about a noun, when you're talking about Goldilocks and the 3 bears, then you are talking about a 2-word phrase, fairy tale. But when you make it into an adjective, like we had a fairy tale wedding, then you're going to make it 1 word. Okay, so that's fairy tale and hairstyle. And just so you can, those of you who have trouble visualizing it, there they are written out. Okay, so that might have been a tough one. I have some much tougher ones. We'll get to them, but the point of this is not that everybody gets to solve everything. It's just a little bit of an introduction to these puzzle types. Fairy tale, hairstyle. Let's move on to the next one if you're ready. The next one I think is easier, especially because of the letters that appear in it. Okay, I'm not going to say anything yet, except that I'm not going to say anything. Except that I'm going to say that I'm not going to say anything. Sorry. Hope you're not too confused by that. Love pencils, take your time. The the first line is a very, I mean, it's a word. If you don't know the first line word, you're sunk. Yeah. But it is a word that we borrow from the Japanese, and it is a word that became common parlance in English as a result of World War II. Klondike. It's funny. Klondike is Klonkais. That is the right number of letters, though. Okay, ST, Stephen, you have to go into the corner because I don't want you to say that this is easy. I know it's easy for you. That's not relevant. What's relevant is this is hard for some people and easy for others, and that's actually very interesting. And I want everybody to feel like they can participate. So don't say dead giveaway, please. I'm sounding a little oversensitive. But again, I'm going to say, if you don't know the Japanese word that we got the first line from, you're not going to get this. It's hopeless. The word that we're getting it from was it's pretty dark, but comes from a type of Japanese fighter pilot who, as a last resort in a fight, would sacrifice themselves and their plane by literally dive bombing their plane into an ocean liner or into into a seagoing vessel. And that type of ultimate sacrifice was called a kamikaze mission. And so the word above is kamikaze. And if you know that, see if you can figure, yeah, using their entire plane as a weapon. Very good. Is that what the word kamikaze literally means? I don't know. But yes, using their entire, but if you can just visualize in your mind what the second word is, that uses the same letters as kamikaze, replacing K, K, and Z with L, N, and T, then you will have solved this puzzle. And if you do not know the word kamikaze, wind of God, nice. Kapatechi, thank you very much. You're probably Professor Kapatechi. Do you get techi about Greek letters? Like kappa? Where does your name come from, Kapatechi? Plastic of God? Oh, sorry. Sorry, I forgot we're dealing with Phil Newman. All right. Yes, the second word is, somebody type the second word in the chat. Laminate. Perfect. Okay. The letter string here is laminate and kamikaze. Wessel, you go into the naughty room, into the naughty corner, please. Love pencils, you're close. It's an I. Okay. So, laminate and kamikaze. Looks like that. Okay. So, that's the third example. Sounds like a dyslectic drink. Sounds like a dyslectic drink. I don't get the joke. Lemonade. No, that's not dyslexia. Somebody who spells lemonade as laminate just can't spell. That's not dyslexia. I'm not following the trivia game conversation, but that's okay. We're going to go on to example 4. I actually forget what it is. Oh, okay. This isn't too bad. Here I intentionally looked for a pair of words where the first one is super strange, and there aren't very many candidate words that would fill that particular pattern. And the second one, you can see that it's a compound word. Kapatechi might have it. I like the plus question mark. I like that. That's very expressive. The second word is more common than the first word, I would say. And one thing that appeals to me about this particular puzzle is that one word is of one type of speech. What do you call it? Part of speech. One part of speech, and the other one is another part of speech. One of these words is a noun, and the other one is a verb. Okay. More specifically, the first one is a noun, and the second one is a verb. More specifically, the second one is a past tense verb. I'm going to wait for one more plus sign to show up, and then I'm going to give the answer. Unless people think I'm rushing, I can take more time. Please tell me if you need more time. Again, this is, yep, thank you, Sprevi, and I'll wait another 15 seconds. Sure, love pencils. You got it. I find it gratifying that people have trouble with this. I think it's really nice to know. When I said that I've been doing word puzzles, logic puzzles for a very long time and have always loved them, I have a very poor sense of how difficult some of these things are. You never heard the first, so glipperol, you think you know the second word. Wonderful. Thank you for being very open about that, glipperol, because you aren't the only one. And if you show people that you're having trouble with this, then other people will feel more welcome. That's very, very good of you. Playmaker, what does plus minus plus mean? You're such a contrarian. Always doing silly stuff. I don't like silly stuff. And I'll tell you why. Because I want to do all the silly stuff myself. Plus minus plus. Like, I got it, then I forgot it, and then I got it again. Okay. All right. This one, I'm sorry, my next slide is a little screwed up because I forgot to finish typing in the second word. But this one is widowhood and withstood. The word widowhood is kind of funky. I don't think we use it very often. But a widow is a woman who has lost her husband. And if you've lost your husband, you are in a state of widowhood, you know? Just like if you're a man, you have manhood. If you're a woman, you have womanhood. And if you're a brother, you are in a brotherhood. And then widowhood and withstood. Okay, so let's think a little bit about why this puzzle might give people trouble. There's no reason anyone should feel bad about that, but let's look at the puzzle without the answer. I see the TH and the ST, and I can very well imagine just getting stuck on the word thistle, or something that has the TH and the ST in a single word. It's very hard to see that and visualize a line break, a word break between TH and ST. So I see that and I say thistle, and it gets stuck in my head. But once you realize that the word breaks there and that it's a compound word, you might very well reach the answer. Okay, let's do a harder one. I'm sorry, we have to move on to harder ones, but the reason I'm bringing this one up is not because it's harder, but because it's pretty funny. It has a lot of recurring letters. Okay, and that one is example 5. Can I have example 5, please? God, I have a lot of lag here. Please do not lag anymore. My computer is old. My computer is actually probably older than some of you, although that's probably a mild exaggeration. What? It still hasn't advanced. Come on. I think possibly something's frozen here or something. Can I click on this? Yes, there we go. You'll be seeing it in a moment. Okay. So I like this one a lot. I think the letters AG at the beginning, they kind of jump out because everything seems to be having a consonant in that position except the first one. Ag, git, gul, lit. Let's see. What kind of hints can I drop, or what can I do to help you think about this in the right way? The second to last letter, in other words, the sixth letter, is that going to be a consonant or a vowel? If you look at the second and fourth word, it could be either way. But if you look at the first word, it can be either way. But what consonant could you put in the second to last position in the third word? Oh, okay, sure, left pencils, that's what I'll do. I will be very explicit about when the hint begins and ends, but I'm not really giving a hint. I'm giving you a logical thought. The second to last letter is probably a vowel. And the reason I know that is because the third word, I can't think of a consonant that would come after the L. Now let's go through the vowels. A, E, I, O, U, and Y. Not many of those vowels would do well after the I. So L-I-I or G-I-I doesn't come very often. So it's not an I. Another L? No, I don't think another L because probably not going to have G-L-L in that order. It is a good thought for basically all the others, right? Like finagle would be actually finagle is a very nice word. Later on, we're gonna take a look at what we can do with that word. Maybe I like that. So we're going back to the second to last letter and figuring out what vowel that could be because we've ruled out consonants. I think. We've ruled out I think. I don't think you're going to have G-I-I. You're probably not going to have G-I-U or L-I-U. So that leaves A, E, and O. Even G-I-A or L-I-A. I mean, L-I-A I can kind of imagine like familial or... but G-I-A, manjar. What are we talking about in English? G-I-A. Okay, just to distract us for a moment, let me just take a look at my terminal again, and let's look up words that start G-I-A. Hey, be nice. Show me my terminal. You're not going to show me my terminal? That's so rude. Okay, here we go. What I'm trying to say is there are not a lot of words that have a G-I-A and then some random letter at the end. Let's just give the whole list. Adagial, elegiac. Wow, elegiac. Okay, so A is not completely out of the question. Let's hide the terminal again. But I will say that elegiac doesn't seem to work, because then you have eliglac. Eliglac is not a word, I'm sure. But you've got these two words that are identical in every way except for that third to last letter. Blank, 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 G, I, blank, blank, or L, blank, blank. One thing that might be that you might be drawn to is that, say the word with GL is maybe singles, or dangles, or bungles. There's actually quite a few. And bungles could be bungees. Dangles could be dangees. That's not a word. Giggles becomes giggies. So there is something going on there. So one way that you might just brute force this is to put in, like, come up with all kinds of words like giggles and giggies, and then put them into the top and bottom word. Yeah. So giggies becomes gigglies, and giggles, and gigages, and there's no word gigages, I think. All right. What's another thing I could do to approach this logically? Let's look at the letter in the third position. And I'm sorry to those of you who just got this right away. We want to really try to squeeze as much logic as we can out of this. And it inspires me to remark that this is not like Sudoku. This is not like a puzzle where you systematically try to whittle away at things. But we're doing as much whittling as we can. The letter before the GI, GL, or LI, or AG especially, is that going to be a consonant or a vowel? I think the limiting factor there is the top line. Okay, Kapatechi has it. Could be R, okay? That's helpful, okay? But let's think about vowels. Could it be any vowel? In the top line, can the A be preceded by a vowel? Because in the next three, in the second, third, and fourth word, a vowel is totally plausible. But the third letter of the first word, I'm thinking of things like something like beagle or hoagie, so O or E. Those are all very possible. Yeah, yeah. AEM meow, you're on the right track. So we can't entirely rule out a vowel. But if we start putting it together in combination with the following thing that's surely a vowel, then words like what did we say the second to last letter probably is? Did we say that it must be anything? We kind of ruled out A because of GIA being so uncommon, and then I didn't follow through. So GIO, contagion maybe, sounds reasonable, but GIO and then GLO sounds unlikely. I think it's fair. Love pencils, I'm going to say what that vowel is after the G in the second to last position. I'm going to give it away. Is that all right? I think we can agree that it's probably an E. Okay. So GLE, GIE, like a so the second and fourth word, This is trickier than I thought because these kinds of puzzles, I don't necessarily go through them very logically. They usually jump out at me. But so this is a good exercise for me, to put it mildly. But with the IE there, when you learn English grammar, you often think of IE as a replacement for Y. Yeah? And you're replacing it in a comparative and in a superlative. So, jumpy. If I'm feeling jumpier, then I replace the Y in jumpy with IER. And if I'm the very jumpiest, then I use IEST. So if I know that the last two letters are ER, does that help anyone? Love Pencils, thank you for speaking out. The Glipperl was speaking out. I hope you're having fun. I hope that's what's important for me. I don't want you to get frustrated. My point here is to introduce this puzzle type and to kind of explore a little bit whether there's any logical way in. And if you're not getting it all, I'd just come along for the ride, I hope. Okay, so GIER, GLER, AGER, and LIER. And I'm going to say that the second and fourth words are comparative adjectives. So bulgy and bully, bulgier and bullier, but then you have bulgler. That makes me think of burglar, maybe. But burglar and burgiar and burliar are not words. Okay. Probably ER in the end. Okay. Thanks, Wessel, for chiming in. Okay. Now let's look at the top word, which is AGER. Dowager, dowgier, dowgler, dowlier. No. What's another word that ends in AGER? So again, this is a harder puzzle. Okay? There are very, very hard puzzles, and this is one of the harder ones. Onager is not a word. Come on. Sorry about that. I just heard a horn. Why did it do that? Okay. An onager is a kind of wild donkey. Tanager? Okay, good. Tanager is good. Tanager, tangier is good. Tangler is also maybe a good word. And tanlier. All right, what rhymes with tanlier? Oh, uneager, unedgier, ununigler, and unilier are not words. But you're on the right track. What you're doing is you're finding something that fits that word, and you're putting it in the other places. But tell me something, Love Pencils, that rhymes with tanager. I'll let Love Pencils give me a word that rhymes with tanager. You will not. Okay. Fanager, ganager. No, the word is manager. Okay. If you like birds, then you maybe like when birds are suffering from mange. And in fact, you might actually when it comes to birds, you might say the mangier the better. The word is manager, mangier, mangler. Whoops, I've gone too far. I went one slide too far. Okay. I think I'm right now. Yes? No? It's going backwards again. Sorry about that. Yeah. Manager, mangier, mangler, and manlier. Glipperal, that's the main reason why I wanted to share this one. I like just the pattern of letters is really cool. And then the surprise, I think, that comes with mangier and mangler being two very, very different words. A mangler is a piece of machinery that is used in laundromats. Mangier means more mangy. In other words, if you've got a tanager who has the mange, you know, I like my tanagers. The mangier, the better. The mangier manager is manlier than the mangler operator. Yes. Good night, Punching Cato. Okay. Nice. So everybody good with this puzzle? All right. Let's go on to the next one. And I'm sorry that this isn't something where there's a super duper amount of really compelling logic. I find it very hard to think about them logically. But you can. It is possible. Let's do, see, I've got four more, no, I think I don't know how many more examples I have of this type. But we have been going on for just over an hour. And this one, only 2 words. It might be very hard, but I believe I put it up because there is quite a bit of logic to do. No, Playmaker, you misunderstood me. The previous one was also hard. I definitely think that Manager, Mangier, Mangler, Manlier was a hard one. So don't get discouraged. The reason I'm bringing this one up is because I think there is a realization that you can make that will help you along quite a ways. And that is to say, if I have a word that ends in Y, it probably is an adverb. And so it might end in ly. What the heck goes between A and I? Okay, so that's also why maybe this is a pretty good example. Because the A and I, in that arrangement, they're quite limiting. Okay, and in fact, I would say the I in its particular position, in comparison with the fact that this is an adverb, that I might help you recognize that you're going to have a lot of trouble fitting I blank blank ly. So words like statically don't work because ICALLY is too many letters. Or, radiantly, again, what you're, if we agree, you found a word that fits the first clue, so you're giving yourself half points. Yeah. Finding things like that is supposed to encourage you to not give up. So if we decide that it ends ly or ls, I think that takes us into territory where the second word is it is a plural, or it's a third person verb or something. But with the I in its place, it's either going to be followed by 2 consonants and then ly. INGLY is yeah. Thank you for saying that, Love Pencils. The having the I in one word and the B in the next word is supposed to take you in the right direction to say, well, if the I has to be followed by a consonant, it's going to be followed by a consonant that also can follow B. Right? So Yeah, bungles is not a word. Good. So it's not going to be ingly, even though there are a lot of words that have that, like sparingly. But still, it's helpful to just try to pronounce the word that results in the second one. Like sparingly becomes spurbungly. Um, it's not right, obviously, and it's even more unright when you try to pronounce it. But it's going to take you in the right sort of, it's going to put you in the right mindset. And so there is a brute force way to solve these, which is to say, I'm going to think of every single word I can come up with that's going to fit the bill for the top one. And I'm just going to try to say the second one with that word. Between the A and the I is probably a consonant. I don't know if anybody thought about that. And so you have to find a consonant that precedes B, and you need to find that same consonant, well, you need to find a consonant between A and I, but one that it can also precede the B. And as you do that, you start to probably realize, or probably guess at least, that that between that letter and the B is a break, that this is a compound word, the second one. Okay? So let's focus on the second half of that word. We know that it starts with B, the second part of this compound word, starts with B and ends in ls. So again, either a verb or a noun, a plural noun. Glipperl thinks he has not the intended solution. You think you have a solution, but it's not the one I intended? Why haven't I intended what you're saying? Because they're not real words? You made up a word. Ah, see, that's what happens. Okay, yeah. No, neither of the words are made up words. But I want to focus on the second half, really. You're going to have a word that ends in ly in the upper half. And the lower half, you're going to have a compound word where the second half is a self-contained word. Yeah. Let's think about just plural nouns. A four-letter word starting with B, ending in L, and then pluralizing. Bowls, B-O-W-L-S. Well, that would be I-owly. That's not right. Bills, B-I-L-L-S, would be I-I-L-L-Y. That's not a word. What's another four-letter noun starting with B and ending in L? Bales, but then you have I-A-I-L-Y. All right. Bells, and then you have I-E-L-L-Y. All right. Yeah, Wessel just gave it away a little bit. The word is balls. And then the top word ends in I-A-L-L-Y. Like radially, facially. Wessel, sorry I'm boring you. I know you got it pretty early, but I want to take everybody along. And this is the last one we're really going to spend a ton of time on, because I want to now sort of use them more for entertainment value than for hurting people's brains too much. Okay. ALLY is at the end, and ALLS. The second word is, I don't know. Did anybody help? Was anybody helped by the last bit? By knowing that it ends in balls and eoli? Okay, I'm going to reveal it now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, my slide tape show here is lagging. Come on. Be nice. Okay, come on. You guys, I am kind of annoyed at my machine. It is so old. There we go. Does that work for you? There we go. Yeah, the words are spitballs and spatially. All right. I'm going to run through a couple more of these, and then we'll take a short break and think about how these things are made. Give it a grumpy old man name so you can yell at it. All right. I don't want to spend too much time on this one because I think it's pretty hard. But first of all, it looks like buyout. But if you get it right away, congratulations. I'm sure it'll be just because of serendipity. But this one is come on. Oh my God, there's such a delay. Be nice. Yeah, you want to say boycott. Very funny. No. The correct solution, come on. I can't believe how slow this is. Sprevi, okay, I'm glad you had a chance to look at it. Do we want to give ourselves 10 more seconds? Okay. The reason I don't want to spend a lot of time on this one is because I put it in for amusement, and also because I think a lot of people haven't heard of the word couscous. Couscous is a Moroccan food made from wheat. But yeah, it's kind of amusing. Boy Scout and couscous. Those of you who are annoyed that I'm going too fast with these, I should tell you, we're going to spend a little more time with this stuff. And explore a little bit. I'm going to give you 2 more or 3 more examples, and then I want to show you some other puzzle types that are like this. So let's go to example 8. Actually, I've numbered it as example 9 because I skipped something. Yeah. All right. This example is not one that I want you to try to solve. I brought it Boy Scouts. Couscous and Boy Scout. All right. This is not a puzzle that's solvable, really. What did I do? Sudoku-kan, tell me how I have dismayed you. Okay, this is not a solvable puzzle. But I wanted to point something out, which is a sort of a style. Well, at Glipral, the reason this isn't a solvable puzzle is because it has multiple solutions. The first solution that I came up with for it was despite and despise. And it's taking forever to go to it. Come on, okay, there we go. Despite and despise. But the reason I'm bringing this as an example is because there are at least 7 more solutions. Okay, and I like them, so I'm just going to give them to you. There's regrets and regress. Yeah, marmise is funny. There's armless and armlets. And there's eyeless and eyelets. Come on. Oh, this is really bad. I'm so sorry about my yeah, I don't know why it's not showing you. Yeah, and then compose and compote and confuse and confute. Does everybody know the word confute? It's a little bit like refute, refutation. Okay, again, apologies for my slow. There we go. Yeah, all right. So I want to take a minute to the word confute. Yeah, confutation is a little bit like a refutation. Okay. Anyway, those were just by illustration that a puzzle that has multiple solutions is not a good puzzle. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my terminal window for a moment. And we want to explore a little bit. I have one of the managers of this stream had asked me to talk about hamlets and hamless. Yeah, if you have no ham, you're hamless, and if you live in a hamlet, if you live in a group of hamlets where nobody has any ham, those are hamless hamlets. Okay, let me take a moment to show you some of the tools that I've used to find these puzzles. I have this tool called Word Explorer, and I want to put a word in it. Somebody earlier was using a funky looking, gave me a funky looking word, but I wanted to just try to explore with my Word Explorer. So we're going to say Ruby Word Explorer .rb, and it's going to ask me to enter a word, and I want to find a word that somebody said earlier that I thought was very possibly productive to look at. I prefer my bird word. Just scrolling up in the chat to find the word that somebody had mentioned. Yeah, Twitch chat sets a Dryphtword. Let's see. It wasn't tanager, but that's okay. No, we're gonna find a word. You know some. Yeah, very good. Yeah, we're gonna use this. The purpose of this next segment is to show you this script that I created to kind of find new word puzzles like this. Let me just show you just give you an example. I happen to know that the word combatants. Whoops, wrong. The word combatants is kind of a funky word. And it's going to ask me, given that word, let's look at Grosbeak next, okay? Anyway, the word combatants, it doesn't have a lot of extremely similar words. In other words, I can't take one letter from combatants. I'm going to just put one here for the purposes of illustration. Please find me all the words that have one letter in common with combatants, and everything else is the same. And it's going to give me nothing. It's going to think for a while and say, no, it's an empty set. Okay, so let's play the same game and have the word combatants. And let's say there are 4 variables. And it thinks for a while and gives me it's thinking hard because I'll tell you a little bit about what's going on. It's taking the word combatants, it's dropping all the combinations of 4 letters that it can from combatants, and then looking it up. Yeah, 2,000 years later. Combat ants, exactly. All right, it's really thinking hard now. My poor computer is working so hard to stream puzzles and look up words that are like vaguely similar to the word combatants while I'm talking to you. I'm bringing this example for a good reason. Okay, so it takes the word combatants. I'll show you what this output is telling me. It's positing that it has these 4 letters in common and comes with pollutants. And then it drops the first and then a couple of letters from the end and gives me tombstones. Symbolists has 4 letters in common. I mean 4 letters in uncommon, I should say. 4 variables. Coagulants, confidants, and hey, love pencils. Look, cormorants. That's one of your friends, right? You like bird words. And yes, AEM Meow has seen it. The one example that really makes me happy here is coelacanth. Coelacanth is a type of fish, like an ancient, like dinosaur fish, that is lovely to behold. Lives deep in the sea. It helps me actually make one other point, the word combatants, because combatants obviously is plural. And if I find a bunch of words that are all plural, then I might as well drop the S and use the singular, right? But in fact, all of the candidate words that this program is giving me are plurals, okay, except for coelacanth. I would ask you, if you haven't heard of what a coelacanth is, to Google that word, coelacanth, and you will come face to face with an animal that is so old that it will make you feel like a baby. Yeah, it's a pretty big fish, but it's mostly a very lumpy looking, strange looking fish, by goldfish or trout standards. Yeah, enjoy that. Okay. So do we want to look up any other words? What is another word that you would like to put into this software? I'll give you a few seconds to come up with something. I'm actually losing audience here. That's kind of funny. And understandable. This is really not something that everybody enjoys. Anybody have any words they want to try? Okay. Then I will just put in something. How about monthly? Whoops! I have to start the script first. Okay. Now enter a word. Okay. How about monthly? I want 2 variables, so this will go quickly. Okay. Let's try monumental next. Monthly and tenthly. That's about as boring as you can possibly get. All right. So let's try Playmaker's suggestion of monumental. Monumental. Okay, I probably want more than two variables because if I put in 2 variables, I just have a feeling I'm not going to get anything particularly surprising. Well, Playmaker, if I say 5, we're going to be here again for 2,000 years. So let's put 5. Sorry. No, it's not a particular. I'm going to stop this. If you have 5 variables, no. See, that's the problem. AEM. They're not the givens. The givens are the constants. Love pencils. Do you think we're going too fast? I'm just trying to get through this so I can show you some other stuff. But I respect that. Okay, so let's start it again, and we'll put monumental and ask for 3 variables. Do you understand what I'm saying, though, AEM? They're not givens, they're variables. There are 3 letters that are going to change. Okay, this shouldn't take as long as combatants with 4. Yeah, it certainly should be faster, because not only is monumental, ornamental. What do we think? Monument and ornament. Okay, so that's a script that I wrote myself, and the reason I mention that is because the script that I have that's even cooler, or if you thought that was cool, my brother-in-law, who's much better with computers than I is, he wrote a script for me in C++, which he calls reverse crossword. And that's the way that I used to call Dryphtwords. I used to call them reverse crosswords. Anyway, so if I go into my reverse crossword scripts and I open and I run a script called revcross. Do I sort? Okay, I will answer that question real quick. You sort your stuff by language rather than by subject. Yes, not everything. But if I have like an app that I've written in Ruby, it's going to be in the Ruby folder. That's just how it is. But if I've got something where the focus of like I've always been I've been a learner. You know, when I was coding professionally, I obviously wouldn't code on my home laptop. So anyway, yeah, all of my C++ scripts are in the C++ folder. Okay, so the way that reverse crossword works is you put in a pattern. Okay, and that's all you do. You put in a pattern, and the pattern is coded as plus signs and minus signs. So I might have something that goes plus, minus, 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 plus. That ends up looking for a 5-letter word where it looks up all 5-letter words where the middle 3 letters are constants and the first and last letters are the variables. And I'll just show you by illustration, by example. And it's going to give me a lot of stuff right now. Ready? Boom. Okay. In a few seconds, it found 412 examples. Okay. Now, some of these, so these are alphabetically ordered, and they are mostly nonsense and mostly just crap. Not very interesting. So hyped, hyper, hypes, typed, and types is not a particularly interesting example. But if I scroll up a little bit, swish and twist, they both have this WIS in them, and the program has identified those as the only words that are 5 letters long and then says WIS in the middle. Ewers and twerp I find incredibly entertaining, and I might just put that into my database. Ewers and twerp. But you know, judging whether this is a good puzzle or not, you just have to kind of imagine it without the answer and saying, is this going to be something that a person could reasonably solve? Okay. I'm going to just scroll through a few more of these. Await, swain, and twain. Ovule and uvula brings me to another point. I mean, a uvula is a very nice thing, and an ovule is also a very nice thing, but I think both words are a little bit too wonky to make into a puzzle, especially if it's just O blank 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 E and U blank 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 A. It might not be fun to try to solve that. If you haven't had fun yet, you'll have even less fun doing that one. Cut up and tutus. Tutus are always funny. Autos, futon, and tutor. That's nice. Euros, Führer, and Juror. Burns, burnt, and turns. Anyway, I'm not going to go through all 415 of these, but I'm just sort of showing you this example. So let's take a more unusual pattern. Let's say the first letter is the same in all words. No, the first letter is the same in all words. The second letter is different, and then I've got like a chain of 5 letters that are the same, and then another one that's different, and then another one that's the same, and it'll quickly give me a list. Oh, it's only found 7. Okay, so these are not particularly, I mean, the longer the words are, the more likely you're going to get things that are kind of trivial looking. But let's see, what do we get? We get aftercare and altercate. We get blighters and brightens. Bassinets and bossiness. I think that's pretty good. And then chariness and clarinets. I think chariness is a really awkward word. I probably wouldn't use that. Empresses, espressos, and expresses. Just looking at the pattern itself, that doesn't look like it'd be very fun. Fireworks and forwards. I don't know. First of all, I'd drop the S and I'd have firework and forward, but that doesn't look very fun. And metricide is a word I'd never use, and matricide is something I would never do. I do love my mother. But bassinets and bossiness is the closest this comes to being interesting. And I would argue that as a puzzle, this looks more daunting than fun, and I would probably never use it. Okay, so let's go back to, let's close the terminal and go back to our slideshow here. Okay, and I want to show you just one more example that I find quite striking, but I also think is probably unsolvable. Hang on a sec. Okay. And that example is this one. And I'm not going to dwell on it, but I'm only going to observe that it's kind of cool. My computer found this one. And what's cool about it is the two words have only one letter in common, and they're very long words. But it's unique. There's only one pair of words that's like this. Come on, give it to me. Give me the damn puzzle. There we go. Okay. Maybe I should quit some applications. Anyway, please do not try to solve this. Somebody did once solve it for me, which is quite impressive. But yes, there are 2 words that share only the 4th letter, and there's no other pair of words that are 10 letters long. Sorry, 11 letters long? Yeah. No, 10 letters long, where the 4th letter is G in one and T in the other. So this is both has a unique solution, and it's the only puzzle I know of its kind where it's 10 letters long and there's only 1 letter that they have in uncommon. And you can go ahead and prove me wrong. I guess I'm not really interested in that. But the word here, if you didn't get it, it's okay. But I don't expect you to. And I would never pose this as a fun puzzle to solve. But the solution to this one is stagecraft and statecraft. Yeah. Stagecraft and statecraft. Playmaker, is that a direct quote, or did you just come up with that? All right, I'm going to go on to another word, another puzzle type, and that's that I just realized I didn't have the rules in place. I didn't show you the rules as we were going along, but I aim to fix that now. We're going to look at Dryphtwords type 2. And in a Dryphtwords type 2 puzzle, I'll give you the first example because these are, it's a kind of a different type of puzzle. But you'll see some similarities with type 1. And this is the first puzzle I'm going to show you. Dryphtwords type 2, example 1. It's a fairly long word with some letters given. And the rules are fill in the blanks such that the line forms a valid English word. But the blanks by themselves form another valid word. Okay? So this does require a different part of your word brain than Dryphtwords 1. If you've done a lot of crossword puzzles, you might be very accustomed to looking at collection of ciphers like this, and say, well, it's going to end in ENT. You know, I mean, for me, there's only one word that ends like that with that length. It's probably got a prefix like sub or super. Does anybody know a word that starts with super and ends with ENT? A person who runs a school district in America, basically a head teacher. Okay, so the word here is superintendent, but yeah, the word is superintendent. Yeah. But what makes it a Dryphtwords type 2 puzzle is that the blanks by themselves also form an English word. And that word is, I'll let you try to visualize it before I put it up. The word is sprinted. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Sprinted. Okay. Did anybody get that? It's a very different kind of puzzle, but it has some very strong similarities, right? So I'm going to give you another example, and this one, for a little bit, I'm not going to say anything, because I think this might be the easiest time you have, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. I find that my slideshow application moves faster when I don't go out of it and I just stay in this application. Okay, what's a word that fills those blanks just by itself? It's a plural word. Permaculture. The T is preceded by a consonant. Oh, hey, I screwed this one up. I'm so sorry, J40. I screwed this one up. The A after the M is supposed to be a blank. Ah, how can I ruin it? I ruined it so badly. Yeah, I'm sorry. I gotta go forward. I screwed this one up. The word is pharmacists, and the words in the blank are harass. So don't harass your local pharmacist. Yeah, A was supposed to be blank. I apologize. You know, I'm a terrible person, but okay. I'm just terrible temporarily. So we'll go through this quickly. Yeah, harass. I even didn't write in the. Sorry, I don't have a proofreader. I blame it on the absent proofreader. So let's move swiftly on. I like this puzzle, this one, very much. Yeah, I'm only hippo. Okay, this one I like a lot. And the reason I like it is because there aren't a whole lot of words that fill in the that you can form with this particular pattern. In fact, you probably, between the E and the I, you probably have two consonants, right? But between the I and the A, if you put another two consonants, then you're going to have a set of blanks that start with four consonants. And I realize we just had the word sprinted, but that's three consonants. And I'm trying to think of a word that has four consonants at the beginning. I'm not sure we have one. No. So between the I and the A, you're probably going to have a vowel. And so a word like extirpate is not going to be allowed because the word extirpate is not a word. There's going to be a vowel of some kind between the I and the A, right? That's not a valid solution, Playmaker. And schnitzel is also. I see what you're saying. You're looking for a word with four consonants at the beginning. No. Oh, yeah. You know what might be fun is to put the word schnitzel in here and see what happens. Eskirnatzel. First of all, it's too long. But the word here, and I'm just going to go ahead with it because I want to get to the other type of Dryphtwords type 3, which I think has a lot more logic to it. But the correct response here is going to show up in just a second. Come on. It's espionage. And if you take the E and the I and the A out of espionage, you get the word sponge. Okay, I apologize again, my screen. Okay, so that's Dryphtwords type 2. All right. And the last thing I want to show you is the Dryphtwords type 3. And this at first, okay, I want to warn you that this at first is kind of a mind melter, because when you see a puzzle of this type, you're just kind of first thrown for a huge loop. Where the givens form a valid word too. Oh, actually, you know, I have one more Dryphtwords type 2 example that I want to give, but not in response to your question. Wait, what? To generate case. I'm not following that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and leave that as a conversation between Clover and Glipperall. I do have one more example, and I'm actually going to stay. I need to take away the Dryphtword 3 rules for a second. Okay, let me see if I can make it show the next example to you relatively quickly. Okay. Do I want to even show this one? Yeah, this is the one. Okay, don't worry if you don't get this right away, and I'm not going to dwell on it for very long. But I think this is a nice example, and it comes with a really nice clue, which is that the letters that you see, the 7-letter word, and the 5-letter word that the blanks form are synonyms. They're synonymous. Okay. I'm gonna wait for one plus in the chat before I move on, because I do think maybe there's one person out there who would happen upon the solution. But as I say, they are both words that mean very easily broken or breakable, easily breakable. They all mean handle with care. Okay. That I think this is very cool. The word is frail and fragile. But what's super cool about this particular example, what's super cool about this particular example is that you can go a step further and do this and put in 2 more blanks. What's it doing? Yeah. And you again get a legal word, which again means easily broken. Frail, fragile, and frangible. Tsugoku Khan gives us a plus. Hi. It's my friend Becky who writes cryptic crosswords for fun. Yeah, frangible is also means breakable, and in fact, it literally means breakable, right? Fragile, frail, frangible. Well, they all have the same root probably, but frangible literally means can be broken. But fragile and frail more directly mean that it's easily broken. Like frail is kind of a synonym for brittle. Okay, so let's move on to Dryphtwords type 3, because this is the one where, on the one hand, it's going to look more daunting, even more daunting, but on the other hand, there's much more logic to do, and it's something where you can like mentally work out how to make it work. I did have, oh yeah, I'm going to go through a few more type 2s just to entertain you, and these are not to be solved. They're just I'm going to kind of flip through them. Example 5 is blank blank li blank blank. That is beef and belief. And then al. Yeah, posh and polish is a nice example too. Oh, right, that's a second solution to that one. Sorry, I did like beef and belief, but posh and polish are both is also legit. Okay, and then this one, the al in the middle of the word prevent. I have prevent and prevalent. And then, and so now we're going to move on to Dryphtwords type 3. Let me just put up the rule set. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to go and show you the first Dryphtwords type 3 example, and I want you to just be aware that at first it's going to be quite overwhelming. It's certainly overwhelming for my computer. Come on. Yeah, there we go. Okay. All right. Here comes the first Dryphtwords type 3. And again, you look at it and you say, holy crap, what is going on here? And in fact, you know, this is on the one hand the hardest type to just do in your head, but it is the easiest type to logically work through. Yeah, exactly, Glip. We don't know what's going on here. Okay, fill in the blanks such that all vertically aligned letters are the same, and each line forms a valid word. And then you find a valid word of the same length that uses up all of the blanks. So the first and the second word start with the same word, same letter, excuse me. The first and the third word have the same second letter. The second, third, and fourth word have the same third letter. The second and fourth word have the same fourth letter. The first and third word have the same fifth letter. The first and fourth word have the same sixth letter. The first, second, and third word have the same seventh letter. The second, third, and fourth word have the same eighth letter, and the last letter, all of them are different except the last word. Okay? But all of the blanks, when you take them together, are going to form a target word, like a mystery word. Okay? So we'll do this one step at a time, and that is, first we're going to look at the word that ends in ing and realize that it must end in ing. So the third to last letter is almost definitely an I. Okay? So let's just guess that and see what happens. We should be able to get something from that. Okay? Once I put the I in, I look at that second word and I see A blank blank RNI blank Y. So what's between I and Y? It's going to have to be, Glipperl, you can explore a word that ends in ONG on your own time, but it's probably ending in ING. Yeah, between the I and the Y, you probably have a T. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and put that in and see what happens. And obviously, if this goes wrong, we're going to go back up. Okay, so in that second word, I've got either paternity or maternity. But let's look at the third word now, because that definitely starts looking like something very familiar, which is retrofits. And once I put in retrofits, the puzzle kind of collapses, because if I put all those letters in their places, I get the words kind of create themselves. And I get maternity and retrofits, and then integrate is the last word. And the first word is mentoring. Okay? And all of the words together, you get your target word, which is meteorite. Okay? So this is a type 3 Dryphtwords. And as you can imagine, type 1 and type 2, of type 1 I have over 2,000 candidates or examples. Of type 2 I have well over 500 or so. And some of them are more amusing than really puzzle worthy. Like if you have to do a type 2 puzzle, you have to be very careful, but you have to be very picky. It has to have a lot of humor to it. But Dryphtwords type 3, it's really a rich medium. I want to do one together with everybody. And again, as I say, these are quite daunting, right? But you just have to look for the set of letters that is most promising. Okay. I'm not sure which one you would choose, but I think the fifth one, I blank U blank D, I blank U D blank, that's probably a T between the I and the U, and an E at the end. Okay. All right. Okay, so Wes, it's a big claim to say I invented this. I did invent this for myself. I don't know if it exists. I'll put it that way. So if I put that T and the E in there, which I'm pretty confident must be in there, I think the T I'm less confident about than the E, right? But if I put those in, and then I just let them propagate through all the words, then things start to fall together, right? I've definitely got in the third line, look at the third line, what is this word? What can it possibly be? Clipperall, I'm going to let you tell me what the third word is. I'm going to put you on the spot because you like it. You torture other people, so I'm going to torture you. What's the third line? Volatile, exactly. So let's put in volatile. Hey. And already you've got a bunch of new information. Okay, now what's the fourth word? Well, it's got to be sometime, right? And if any of you see the target word already, you're doing great. But you don't necessarily have to see it. Sometimes it's quite of a surprise. Okay? So the first word is what? Non-stick. Second word is solution, volatile, sometime, solitude, allspice, which is a type of herb, or a spice rather. Well, it's called a spice. Allspice, and politico. And the word that comes out that they all have in common, come on, is what? Solstice. Very good. Yeah. So that's the type 3 puzzle. I'm going to show you one that's a little bit harder, but more amusing. I like this one a lot. All right. We have two words on the screen that you can see, and both of them we need to just fill in the blanks. The top word I think is a little bit more elusive, but the second word, there aren't a whole lot of words that have like AF in the middle and that end in an M. What's something that you can do on the planet Mars, or what we hope to do with the planet Mars, if we are, in fact, Elon Musk? Terraform. Good. So, given the word terraform, I now put an R in the top word, D-O-R-M, and then A-F-O-R, then there's an O-R in the second and third to last letters. D-O-R-M blank blank O-R blank. What is D-O-R-M blank blank O-R blank? What is that word? Yeah, it's close to dorm room. What is dorm short for? You're not going to be keeping the AF in the first word, and you're not going to keep the M at the top. The M is going to change. Yeah, dormitory, but dormitory is spelled with an I. Yeah, the word is dormitory and terraform, and the resulting word is territory. Cool? Okay, do I have another one? Oh yeah, all right, and I think this is the grand finale here. This next example blows my mind. I enjoy it very much. Okay, we're looking for a 7-letter word. Our target word has 7 letters in it. It has 4 letters in common with a word starting with K-E-Y. And it has 4 letters in common with a word that has K-E-Y sort of in the middle. And then it has another word in common with A-N and A. All right. This is one where I don't feel like logic is too helpful. But if a word starts with K-E-Y, it probably is a compound word with the word key as the first three letters, right? So what's a compound word starting with key? Keyboard is fine. Key ring, all right. Key card, good. Keyhole is very nice. All right, so the third word is going to eliminate some of those, right? Because if you use the word key card, keyless, fine. If you put in the word keyless, let's start with keyless. Keyless is, then the last word is going to be A-N-E-S-A, right? I can't think of any words that do that. Key card, we have a word that ends in A-N-A-R-A. Oh, and the most important thing is, if you put in the word key card, then the second word is going to end in K-E-Y-D, right? And we don't want that. Right, and if you put in a plural, like key fobs or keytars, thank you, then yeah, you're going to have a plural in the second word, and you're probably going to go down a pretty deep rabbit hole, and we're going to have some. Yeah, I admit that could be a pretty bad rabbit hole. But I will say this is a very helpful thing. It does not end in an S. So there are not two plurals up there. The second word is actually a compound word. And it is an ailment that young children often get when their daycare center isn't properly sanitized. And that ailment is pink eye. They can get pink eye. So we're going to start with PI, and we're going to end in an E. And the word key something is going to end in an E. And then the last word is unfortunately a little bit uncommon, and it's possible that you haven't heard of it. And for that I apologize. But the fact that I've got key in the first word and I've got key in the second word amuses me to no end. Do I not have I don't have the solution on a slide, I'm sorry. So we'll have to go to my terminal and I'll show you what the solution is. Let's go to terminal. Okay. Whoops. Okay. K-E-Y-H-O-L-E. Command not found. Okay. And then pink eye. So, and then actually, let's see. I know what I can do. Shoot. Okay, so we're going to start with PI. The last word had an A here and an N. And then from this next two letters it has in common with keyhole. And the last letter was an A. If you don't know what a pianola is, I apologize. This is, again, not a very, very common word. Okay? And if you take all the common letters together and put them at the end, you get pinhole. All right? So those are my examples for Dryphtwords type 3. And I'm sorry I didn't have a slide for the last one. That just means that I'm not terribly, I didn't proofread very well. And so the flow of this is not so great. this is what I wanted to present today, and I'm done pretty much. Do we want to have a little AMA or something? You all can do whatever you want with the rest of your afternoon or evening, depending on where you are. Yeah, my terminal says, what are all these words you're asking me to look at? Yeah, none of these commands are found. I should create some kind of a script. Okay. Yeah, pianola. So let's see. I'm probably not going to be able to do anything useful now with the word pianola. Oh no, I don't need that. Here, let's open this again. And go to my browser and look up exactly what a pianola is. Yeah, it's a very particular type of player piano. Yeah. In fact, here they're thinking of pianola. Yeah, they're thinking of them as synonyms. Okay. Sorry, I better move this a little bit so you can see it. Now this is hopeless while my stream is running. Okay, sorry. Please Google pianola yourself. It's a fairly heavy granola bar. Yeah, it's a very heavy and kind of splintery granola bar that gets splinters in your tongue. All right, fine. Sorry about that. I really did screw up the the last slide, so that you didn't get an answer. You didn't get to see the answer. But it was keyhole, pink eye, and pianola creating the word pinhole. All right. So I'm gonna if there is nothing more that we want to discuss, then I am gonna log off. And if you have any feedback for how this went, then please do send me a DM in the CTC Discord server, or well, that's not really a it's not really a it's not really in the server itself, but send me a DM if you want to discuss this more. And also get excited about SudokuCon. Those of you who didn't hear about it will we haven't been doing our jobs if you haven't heard about it, but it should be an exciting event, and anything you can do to spread the word. I want to say thanks to the SudokuCon people, that's Glipperall and Clover and Tallcat especially, for their help, and James Sinclair, and their willingness to host me on this, and they've been very grateful to me too, but right now I want to focus on how glad I am to have had this opportunity to present these puzzle types to you. So thanks for sitting around, and we will see you another day. Bye.